In this lesson, we will graph an ellipse that is centered at h, k. So we talked previously about how to find the equation, the center, the foci, etc. And that was when the center was located at 0, 0. So notice the difference here is that we have the x minus h, the y minus k. So this is looking more and more like the circle where we had x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared. So same idea, and that's why it's important that a and b are different. Otherwise, we would just have a circle. Just as before, the a value is the larger of the two, and it's going to be the one that tells us whether it's horizontal or vertical. The center is at hk, just as it was in a circle. The foci, same idea. To find our c value, we take the a squared minus the b squared. But notice now, instead of having that value as the x or the y value, we're going to add and subtract it from the center, whatever that center point is. Same thing with the vertices. You're going to find the a value. You're going to go a in each direction, added or subtracted from the existing point. Same thing for the b value. You're going to add it and subtract it from the existing point. So now you can see we have the ellipse that is no longer centered at the origin. So let's try one together. We're going to do the same thing that we did on the last questions, but now we are centered at hk. So what is hk? In this case, remember, we're looking at minus already, so the h is 2, and the k, this would be y minus -1, so it's actually -1. So 2, -1 is my center point. Just as I did before, I'm looking at my a squared value, which in this case is 25, my b squared value, which in this case is 16, a is 5, b is 4. Now, in terms of how you find those endpoints of the major axis, I can just start here and count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be the major axis. Again, I did that on the x because the larger was below the x. The other way, of course, is to take your 2, -1 and say, let's take 2 plus 5, -1, which is 7, -1. And then let's take 2 minus 5, -1, which is -3, -1. So that's -3, -1, and that's 7, -1. So you can do it algebraically, or you can plot the 2 points and then just determine where those points are. So these are the endpoints of the major axis. So we got that one. The endpoints of the minor axis would be going 4 units in each direction, so 4 units up, 4 units down. Again, if I'm starting at 2, -1, I would be saying that's 2, -1 plus 4, and 2, -1 minus 4, which would of course give me 2, 3, and 2, -5. So 2, 3, and 2, -5. The other option there, just as last time, is to just start here, count 4 units up, put a point, count 4 units down, put a point. So this is the graph of my ellipse. So I have the endpoints of the major, the endpoints of the minor. The center is here at 2, -1. The foci, we do the exact same thing we did before. So c squared equals b squared minus a squared. 25 minus 16 is 9. And so c is 3. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Again, if I'm trying to find those points, I would start here, and on the x, I would subtract 3 and add 3. So starting here, I would subtract 3, which is -1, -1, and then I would add 3, which would be 5, -1. One for you to try on your own, so try this question and then press play to check your work. here again, there are my A and B values. The center of this one, so h comma k, which is my center, would be -1 comma 3. Remember, you're always looking at the opposite sign because the formula itself is x minus h. So if it's a positive, that means a negative value. If it's a negative, that means a positive value. So -1 comma 3 is my center. My a squared value is 9, which means a is 3. My b squared value is 4, which means b is 2. Again, the order that you do this is up to you. You can do it algebraically or graphically. We'll go ahead and do this one algebraically together. So I know if my center point is at -1, 3, and I'm trying to find the endpoints of the major axis, I'm going to add and subtract that from my center. So -1, 3. I'm going to take the -1 will stay the same here. So I'm going to take -1 and then 3 plus 3. And -1, 3 minus 3, which gives me -1, 6, and -1, 0. So -1, 6, -1, 0. These are the endpoints of the major. For the minor, we would now look at the x value. So we would change the x value by b. So my -1, 3 is now -1 plus 2, oops, comma 3, and -1 minus 2, comma 3. So -1 plus 2 is 1, comma 3, and -1 minus 2 is -3, comma 3. So 1, comma 3, and -3, comma 3. I can then connect those dots, and that's the ellipse. To find the focus, we're going to say c squared equals a squared minus b squared, which means 9 minus 4, which means c squared is radical 5, which is about 2.2. So the foci, again, would be changing the y value from the center. So that would be -1 comma 3 plus radical 5 and -1 comma 3 minus radical 5. I wouldn't necessarily turn those into decimals, but of course I am going to go 2.2 in each direction to write my foci on the graph.